Thanks the cast, everybody, for showing up and playing D&D. We've got a hell of a show for you. What we're going to do is we're going to go around. We're going to have Scott, the DM, kind of lay out the world for us, what time period we're in, where we're playing. And then we're going to go person to person. We'll introduce ourselves, tell you what characters we're playing with our stats. And then we're just going to jump in. Does that sound good, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Great. All right, let's do it. Scott, to you. Where are we playing? What world are we in? Who are you? Do the intros. Let's go.
All right, well, the world, well, who am I? Scott, the DM. All right, so what world we're playing in is going to be Faerun. So for those of you that aren't familiar, Faerun is a continent on the planet of Toril. All the big details don't matter so much, but you can imagine Faerun as being somewhat like Europe in the sense that it's a ton of countries all thrown together, not separated from the other continents. So in Faerun, there are multiple different regions. The region we're going to be playing in is the Unapproachable East. The Unapproachable East is an area that's literally on the eastern edge of Faerun, touching with a huge distance between it and them, touching the next continent over by the name of Karator. Details about that don't matter. We're going to start in the country of Thesk. Thesk is a really interesting country. We're starting in the year 1372 DR. The reason why it's interesting is because, we talked about this in a previous episode, Mathis and I did, where 14 years ago, there was something called the Time of Troubles. It was where Ao, the overgod, forced all the other gods to walk the earth. Several gods died. It was done because of the hubris of two in particular gods, so on and so forth. So that's still relatively recent in this world, and people remember that. So that has caused a much closer connection between many of the peoples and their gods, or even severed some connections. In Thesk specifically, or the Unapproachable East, 12 years ago, there was or a few years ago, there was a huge horde called the Tugan Horde. It was a ton of horseback riding humans that just came rolling in from the Endless Waste. They came in and just tried to overtake this entire area. It was due to the efforts of a whole bunch of regions joining together to overtake them. The war came to a complete end in Thesk, specifically in the city where we're starting, which is Fasant. So in Fasant, the king of Cormyr, different country, was the one that was ruling the armies. In particular, the army that was here was made predominantly of orcs. It's not very common that orcs and humans get along in pretty much any story. But here they did, to hold back this other horde of creatures. They were victorious, they broke up the army, and then history was made. This city actually happens to be one of the most accepting cities in all of Faerun for orcs to mingle with humans because of the place that they played in the war. So, starting in the city of Sant, in the country of Thesk, in the world of the continent of Faerun, in the world of Toril. That's where we are.
All right. Let's everybody got to see the map. Oh, people are saying rip, but I'm saying it's still online on my end. Is everything good?
I think it was just a little stutter.
Okay. I don't see any dropped. Oh, we do see a little bit of dropped frames, of course, because that's just how things work. All right, cool. Hopefully things are good. We're gonna hand off. We'll start with you, Mr. Sam Strippin. Who are you playing? What is your class? And hit us with your stats.
I am playing a female tiefling. I am a warlock. My stats are strength 8, dexterity 14, constitution 14, intelligence 10, wisdom 11, and charisma 17. My character's name is Rai.
And Bear, what about you?
Hi, I'm Bear. I'm playing D&D for my very first time.
Welcome, Bear.
Jerry, man. My character is a halfling bard. Stats of strength 10, dexterity 14, constitution 12, intelligence 12, wisdom 12, charisma 16. And my name is Adatuma Minotaur, or just Otto.
Goddamn halflings.
Yeah, always got to be fancy, right?
Or just Otto.
Or just Otto. Yeah, it's simple.
And Maggie?
All right, I am playing Grommen, and he is a barbarian half-orc. And I guess just go into my stats. Is that what we're doing? That's it?
Just run down your main stats, yeah.
All right, I have 17 strength, 15 dex, 14 con, 7 int. 9 whiz, and 13 charisma.
Goddamn. And I myself am playing a half-orc cleric. His name is Thonk, and his stats are as follows: strength of 12, dexterity of 10, constitution of 14, intelligence of 12, wisdom of 15, and charisma of 13. And there's our characters. We'll have more detailed explanations for you as the game starts. Everybody ready to start playing?
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, with 2 half-orcs and a damn tiefling, you had to choose a good spot for everybody where they would actually make sense to be there. So thanks for the interesting cast of characters.
It makes it more fun that way.
Of course.
I think it's going to be pretty entertaining. When we did our first little practice episode, I was dying. It was awesome.
Yeah, that episode will, your character was special. All right, Scott, when you're ready, take it away.
Awesome. So the game starts up with you guys in the city of Sant. The city of Sant is one of the largest cities in Thesk. Its inhabitants is in the tens of thousands. Being on the Golden Way, that's the biggest traveling road between Faerun going to Karator. There's tons of travel that goes through here, tons of merchants that come through here, and it makes for a very bustling place. So even if the inhabitants aren't, even if it doesn't just have the inhabitants, just the people traveling through there is ridiculous. Specifically in this city, there is a small district. When I say small, it's 20% of the city. It's not so small at all. It's called the Shao district. See, what I'd mentioned earlier was the continent of Karator. This is an Asian-like continent where, you have your shogun and you have your samurai and all those thematic things. Well, during the war against the Tugan horde, many of the peoples from over there were either trying to run to escape the horde, get ahead of them, or were enslaved and brought over here as slaves of the horde, and others were just kind of trapped here during the time of trade and whatnot beforehand. So these people were stuck here for a very long time, ended up building up this city. They take up 20% of it. So you guys are going to start in the Shao district. So this district, you have to imagine it, you have to think of being like a Chinatown in any major city in the US. So the buildings are much more close together. The population is very dense because the original inhabitants weren't as accepting of them when they initially got here, though they are becoming more and more integrated into the culture. So it even goes to say that the guards, when things happen in the city, this part of the city, they show up to do their job, but if the job isn't that easy, they kind of just shrug their shoulders and walk away. So within that city, your characters have been called to a meeting at in a particular tavern. Now, the tavern is a wooden structure. It's pretty decent in size. It's multiple floors, so that there are rooms and the like that can be rented above head. And you were told to meet here. Each of you were told to meet a gentleman by the name of Forston. So arriving at the tavern, the first person to be there would be, Thunk. I'll memorize all your names eventually. The first one to arrive there would be Thunk. And Thunk, as you approach the tavern, like I said, it's a large building. You got the directions, no problem. You would see the sign on the front there as characters that you can't quite understand, but there's a picture of what seems to be a broken bottle. And you know that a lot of people know it. To you, it's known as the Broken Bottle Tavern. So you make your way inside. There is business going on there. It's not overly populated at the moment. People drinking, eating, laughing, joking. The room itself is not very huge, about 20 feet by about 25 feet. There is a hearth there. It is not lit as we are in the middle of the summertime right now. And there's a bartender with a few barmaids around working. You hear music off to the side as some minstrel is playing. You smell the smell of old musty mead and food, both rotten and delicious as you walk in the door. And what do you do as you walk in?
Was there directions as to where in this building I was to meet this man?
There was not. You were just told to meet him around the time that you arrived. You actually showed up a little bit early, but you were told
and,
to meet
what was
him
his name again?
His name was Forston.
Okay. Completely ignoring everybody around me, I actually just make my way directly over to the bar and call to attention with a hand the bartender if he's not busy.
Yep.
I'm patient if he is.
Awesome. So the bartender is a human male. He is obviously of Shao descent. He makes his way over and smiles at you pleasantly and says, "Hello, sir. How can I help you?"
I don't even like give him the normalities you normally would, and I just say, Forston, I'm here to see him.
Yes. Upstairs, room 3.
Okay, and I just turn and walk and head up that way.
Absolutely. So you walk up the stairs, walking down the hallway. It's pretty straightforward. There's not directly across to each other, kind of staggered, but there's rooms on either side. A handful of rooms up here. You don't go all the way to the end of the hall, but you imagine less than 10. And you do come across the room that has a big 3 scratched into it. And
I'll give it one knock, and then I'll just turn the handle to see if it's open and go in.
Absolutely. So you go inside and you see that this room, unlike what you were expecting inside of an inn, does not have beds and a bureau or the like inside there. It actually has just a kind of an open area, a couple of seats around of varying degrees of comfort, bar stool, arms chair, armless chair. There's several seats there, but inside the room, you do see the gentleman that you were told to meet. Now, Forston is a half orc as well. He is large and imposing. His skin is ruddy in color, like he spent much time in the sun and seen much of its abuse. By half orc standards, he's a very attractive man, large in build, broad shoulders, so on and so forth. He's wearing a loose tunic and loose pants, patches here and there on it. He's obviously wearing a leather belt that to which, if there's any weapons hanging, you can't tell underneath his long duster style coat that he's wearing. Worn boots and a worn look on his face. He looks at you and with a slight smile, he says, first to arrive. Welcome, Thunk.
I nod and I make a gesture to a chair like, may I sit?
He nods.
All right, I pull a chair out and I will sit down. Noting other empty chairs, I look to him and I go, were there others expected?
Not as many as seats. I
nod. And I'll look around. I don't say anything, and I kind of just cross my arms, and I expect I will be waiting for the rest.
He nods to that. Now, you are familiar with Forston, friend through a friend. You're not very familiar with him in general. So he does, after a minute or two of silence, look to fill in the gap with a couple words like, so what exactly brought you here?
Well, he wanted me here. You mean in the town in particular?
Yes.
I just look, it's where my faith took me.
Hey, he nods to that, lets the silence fall over again, and it persists for an amount of time.
Yeah.
Next person to arrive at the inn is Grommen. But Grommen, for you, you're not searching around trying to find this inn through reputation or asking for directions or the like. You're very familiar with where this inn is, and you know it well. So
yeah. So I walk into the bar. I know the barmaid. I already give her the look of you know what to bring me, and I head up to see Forston and arrive at the room.
Awesome. As the barmaid hands you the drink that she already knew to get for you, she does say it's in room 3.
I take the drink and walk on up with my drink.
Awesome.
Drinking it, looking around, kind of. I'm not expecting other people to be there, but I know that I'm meeting my friend. So.
Not a problem. So as you go up there, you see the closed door. Do you knock or just walk in?
I just walk in.
Awesome. So you walk in and you see 2 figures in the room. One is Forston, who you had known prior, and another is a battered-looking orc sitting there before you.
Yeah.
At this time, Athos, could you describe yourself? And same to you, Grommen.
Yeah, so sitting there, I'll stand up when you walk in, and he is a relatively average in height, half-orc. He's 6'5", not nearly as built as you look to be. He wears himself simple travel clothing, but it doesn't look very tattered, so battle may not be something he sees very often. I'm going to go ahead and switch to this. He wears chainmail armor. On one side, he has a mace. On another side, or off of his belt, you see 2 books dangling next to a dagger that seems to be sheathed. Hard to get a good look at it right now. He has a very small scar over the left of his eye, and he's bald with the exception of a very tight ponytail pulled in the back of his skull.
Very nice. I am 7 foot tall, 250 pounds. I'm just like this beefy green skin. I have a large scar. So I also have a scar. We were actually bonding over our scars before. I have a large scar that goes from my eye all the way down to my neck. Mine's bigger. Just saying.
It's actually much bigger. Yeah.
My beard is like barely visible. I kept decent maintenance on that. My hair is kind of shaved on the side. So if you guys ever think of like, I'm trying to think of the guy from Vikings, basically, like the shaved on the side, and I have it braided normally and kind of like a mohawk half type of ponytail thing. And then he has kind of like hazel eyes, but they have a tinge of red into them, and he's wearing hide armor, but you can see a lot of his skin. He's got a great axe weapon and 2 hand axes on the sides and a javelin, a couple javelins in his back. He's wearing like a backpack, and he has a wolf skin cloak. And I guess, can we go from where I walk in from that?
Well, one of the things I'm going to point out really quickly before you start to role play is maybe you didn't notice before when you first walked in, Thunk, but with the 2 of you standing at 6'5" and 7 feet tall, it becomes much more apparent that this guy Forston actually only stands at about 5'11", maybe 6 feet tall. Damn. He's significantly shorter than the 2 of you, but obviously he doesn't seem to flinch or anything as your imposing sizes come walking in.
Okay.
You can pick it up, either one of you.
All right, so I walk in. I kind of go towards Forston, and we have kind of like a handshake. So we do our thing, and I'm like,
"Oh, Forston, so good to see you today once more. And I see this is your friend. Who might you be?"
I narrow my eyes a little bit, and I just say Thunk.
"Oh, Thunk. I'm Grumman."
Sorry, that sounds amazing. All right.
So good.
I won't reach forward for a handshake unless you do so first.
Sure. I'm in a merry mood. I go for the handshake.
Right,
I don't know. Do orcs handshake?
We do now.
I feel like I just like nudge you on the shoulder. How about that?
And that works too, and I'll just take it, but I won't nudge you back.
All right.
Awesome. So at your initial greeting, where you had said your words to Forston, nods to that. He sees the introduction there, and he says, "Well, I'm glad that we know that we have capable hands handling the task that I'm going to put before you. But we are not the last. You are not the last of them to join. So if you would like to sit or stand, we will wait for the other to arrive."
I take a seat again.
I guess I go and I stand and I kind of like lean up against the wall, and one arm is kind of like on my side, and I'm just drinking out of my mug.
Awesome. So a small amount of time passes. Do either one of your characters look to engage in any amount of small talk with each other, or just between Forston and Grumman?
Oh, sure. I pull out some dice that I have in my bag, and I say I look at them and I'm like,
"Forston, are you ready for some gambling? And Thunk, I assume you're down as well. Everyone loves a little game."
Chuckling to himself.
I'm right now.
Feels like I can't contain himself.
I got such a Jigsaw vibe there all of a sudden.
I know.
You wanna play a
Would
little-
you like to play a game?
You want to play a game?
I wish I could hear it because I have it off. Otherwise, it's kind
Oh,
of weird
no.
hearing it in my head.
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh, it is amazing. All right, so at your saying that, Forston actually chuckles to himself a little bit, and he says, isn't that how problems started in the first place?"
Nah.
I just hold my hand up like a no thank you gesture.
With him saying no, Forston nods towards him and then says, "Yeah, perhaps this isn't the best time or place, but maybe in a few days."
Oh,
And then-
Forsen, I've never had you down for saying no to a game.
Business always comes before pleasure.
I haven't seen this side of you before.
It's because we haven't done business before. So
He puts the dice back in and kind of like leans back and kind of is a little grumpy. Gets more grumpy than he was
That's
before.
right. Come to the grump side.
in an attempt to cheer you up, because he actually does have fond feelings of you, he does engage you in conversation about like how it is that you know each other and the incident that had happened prior. So without going into details, because they're really just not pertinent right now, what Thonk is able to get is that the two of them, while they interact with one another as though they're old friends, you can actually tell that they have only known each other for a short period of time, but they bonded very quickly, as orcs tend to when blood is shed. So a few minutes pass, and in that time, we have the attractive Rye approaching the inn.
Yeah, so I think to start off with, the people in the inn can hear this altercation in the street, just this yelling in Shao, and it causes such a scene. You see the door swing open, and you see Rye. She's got a finger pointed at this merchant, and they're arguing in the street. And she slams the door and turns around, and everyone just kind of stares. And she just props the hood up and quickly moves across the room and up the stairs.
Is it weird for because you're a tiefling, right? Is it weird for a tiefling to be in this neighborhood at all?
That's a good question. You really wouldn't know one way or the other, but I suppose you'll see the reactions that other people do or do not have against her when you're witnessing it.
Mm-hmm.
As for Rye, though, Sam, when she comes walking towards the end, one, she already knows exactly where it is, and two, she can actually read the words that are written on the sign outside. So whereas most people understand it to be the broken bottle, you know that it actually is the broken spirit, the broken spirit's inn. But you're very familiar with this place. You're very familiar with the barkeep. So as you walk in, the barkeep just kind of holds up 3 fingers and pours a glass for you.
Cool.
Um,
I think I just swing by the bar and I grab it. Still moving, I kind of turn back towards to face the barkeep, and I tell him I'll settle up when I come back down.
No need. It's taken care of by Forston.
I do a little silent fist pump when he tells me this, and knock it back as I head up the stairs to the room.
Absolutely. So same as I described earlier, you walk up the stairs, you look around, you actually know there's exactly 7 rooms in the upstairs. You've seen it before. You even know about the little secret cubby hole where you can hide in case the authorities are looking for anybody inside this place. That's down near the last door at the end of the hallway. But you go to room 3, which again, you're very familiar with.
Wait, what? Wait, was he there at that time that I was there? When the authorities came?
No, he was not. That at least you don't remember him. So anyways, you go up to room 3. Do you knock or walk?
She raps on the door 3 times.
Mm-hmm. You are able to hear some swift and heavy footsteps come across the room. You guys see Forston walk over to the door to open it. He opens it up and he stands before you. Again, I've given you the description before. Now, you may have seen Forston around. Actually, in seeing him, you recognize exactly who he is. You know him by reputation. You maybe not would have put the name to the face before, but now obviously you know both the reputation and the face that you've seen here. And it's kind of like that makes sense. And he sees you standing there and he says, Rye, welcome. And opens the door wider for you to walk in, holding it for you.
Cool. Rye just gives like a little 2-fingered salute and says, yo, and just kind of walks in, props up against the wall in the corner. She doesn't sit at the table.
What are we looking at?
Description of Rye.
You're looking at, she's short, around 5'5". No offense, Maggie.
I'm not even 5'5". I'm like way shorter than that.
I know. She's got like an athletic build, olive toned skin. You can't really tell a lot about her build because she's heavily draped in cloaks and whatnot. Aside from her arms, the cloak is sleeveless, and she's got this visible moon-shaped armlet on her arm. And yeah, she's pretty much, she keeps herself hidden. She's got long black hair and silver eyes, and they're completely silver, which is a trait of the tiefling.
That's cool.
Quick question, because you are a tiefling, you do have various, we'll say, demonic traits or and whatnot. Does she or doesn't she have horns, or can you not even see them? You did say your head was covered. So.
She has two ram-like horns, which she does her best to conceal with the hood. But the trained eye could clearly see there's something in there.
So when you say ram-like, you're saying like actually rather large horns, not small and easily concealed kind of horns.
Not small, easily concealed. They're kind of like curved. They come out from the side.
Awesome.
And the reason her hair is so unkept is because it's masking the horns to the best of her ability.
Maybe she should look into like the Princess Leia hairstyle to
Maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like he needs to roll for hotness.
Oh man, my teenage years are coming back. All right, so
Hey, Grauman's got needs.
so as she makes her way across the room and gets comfortable leaning against the corner, Forston does shut the door behind him, turns around, claps his hands together and says, all right, all of you are here. So down to business. I suppose we'll get introductions out of the way since they're not completely taken care of. Over here, we gesturing towards Maggie, of course, Maggie's character. We have Grauman, that's Thunk, and over there is Rye.
And this is where I'm about to walk into the scene, interrupting the ongoing conversation. Hey, this isn't my room. Oh, wait. Whoa, what are you guys doing in here? 3 orcs and a tiefling. That sounds like a bad joke waiting to happen.
So as you open up the door, as you open up the door and you swing it wide, there is an audible thunk as it actually bumps into the back of Forston. Not his head or anything like that, but it does bump into him, and you step in saying your words, ignoring that fact.
Of course I do.
So with that happening, he's obviously entirely taken aback and whips around to see who stands before him. And describe who we see.
What do we got?
You see Otto, a.k.a. Adatumal Miltal, the halfling bard. He's got himself a defining characteristic in his big, puffy, dirty blonde mutton chops that reach all the way down from his side of his face down to the start of his chin. Green eyes glowing a little bit, as well as a big, full-tooth grin that he's usually rocking. Tends to be a pretty happy-go-lucky dude. He's got some light armor as well, and just kind of a standard halfling garb. What's like a standard height for a halfling? Would you say like 4'10" or something like that?
No, way shorter.
That's
than that.
Yeah, that's a tall.
Is it?
tall. Like you're a huge. You're
That's
like a
dwarven.
yeah.
Yeah,
Tall
you're
fella
talking
playing right
like
there.
high 2s, low 3s. Think Frodo.
Okay, so let's go with like a 3'4".
Yeah, you're like the size of one of my biceps.
Basically.
That's great. Yeah, that's Otto.
So you mosey in. I will like look to you and then quickly make like eye contact with Forston. Like, what is this expected, or is this a problem we need to deal with?
So he breaking that. So meets your eyes, obviously breaks your eye contact, and turns and looks at him and says, "Who are you, and why are you in this room?"
Oh, pardon my interruption. My name's Otto. Otto Tumal Miltal, if you prefer to be fancy. I just heard a little bit of a clamor in here. I thought maybe me being the lover of a great mystery, I thought I would inquire about what the hubbub is all about.
After the first 2 or 3 words, his jaw visibly starts to lock and his teeth grinding slightly.
I'm gonna lean forward and smack my mug on the table.
Let's see. So he, so she smacks her mug on the table. Sorry, Forston completely ignores that and just keeping a solid, almost staring daggers at Otto. He looks at him and says, "It's a business transaction. Are you a businessman?"
I've been known to be a businessman in my time.
I'll look to Forston and say, "I'm sorry. Were there open applications?"
He holds a hand out to more or less just silencing you, and says, he looks you up and down for any obviously visible weapons that you might have on you.
Now, friend, I would not come to one of my favorite establishments armed to the teeth. These people are my friends. I've been here for years. I play games with them.
So you're saying that you come armed with nothing but wit?
Indeed. That's a much more clever way of saying it. God, I wish I'd thought of that.
You actually get him to crack a ever so slight smile from that one, which very quickly dissipates. And then he says, well, you have two options. You can either join us or walk away with no memory of this.
Well, I think given those two options, I'm a smart enough man to see the benefit of the former.
Especially since the latter will be involve lots of pain being inflicted.
I think I gathered as much, yes.
He steps slightly out of the way for you to walk in and very loudly snaps the door shut behind you.
Appreciate your kindness.
So you go walking in and find a seat or...
I'll walk in, sort of glance around at my three new best friends, trying to let them know that I'm not any sort of enemy to them, but merely a new presence that they should consider welcoming with open arms. And I go have a seat in an available chair.
I'm gonna give Forston a look and be like,
Are you sure about this?
As I said, there are only two options. He can either join us or he could not remember this. And so then he starts walking forward over to approximately the middle of the room to be in an area where he can easily be seen by all of you. He says, and Addo will be joining us. To that, he actually remembers something, turns around, walks back to the door and locks it, and then goes back to where he was standing before. So most of you and I have a prior relationship, or at least a mutual friend. And this is why I've reached out to you. I have a task that I'd like to put before you. It's a little bit of sensitive nature. So I was looking for people that I believe I can trust. I'm assuming at least most of you can be trusted in this matter.
I'll nod, but very visibly be staring Otto down.
Awesome.
I'll return your stare with a sly grin.
Halflings.
He says, there will be coin to be had if this task is completed and completed well. If you do it well enough, maybe I won't even have to split that share a fourth different way and just give you all your own earnings. Once again, glaring down at Otto. So make sure you earn your keep, lest you'll have an obstacle in returning. He then says to you, in this matter, I do require some amount of discretion, and there will, of course, be violence. I know that none of you have an aversion to these things, or at least most of you don't have an aversion to these things. And then he looks to Otto.
I care not to divulge my experience, but trust him that I've had my fair share of time on the battlefield, sir.
I'm sure. So what it is that I need you to do is I need you to retrieve something for me. There is a letter of sensitive nature that I want you to go and collect for me. Bring it back here completely sealed. You are not to look at this letter at all. The letter can be found some ways out of the city, so you will have to travel a bit to get there. If you are willing to do this task for us, for me. If you're willing to do this task for me, I'm willing to reward you each with a pouch of 50 gold.
I am a very silent nod to that.
Okay. Everybody else seems to be at least in silent agreements of this thus far. So he says, I imagine the details are of the utmost importance. So what it is along the road, there will be a wagon traveling. The description of the wagon, he's like, I'll give that to you later on. But the important thing is that when you attack this wagon, that you cannot be remembered by anybody that sees it. So whether you choose to attack from the cover of night and have nobody witness any of you, or you choose to leave nobody that can speak of what it is that you're doing, either one of those work for me. But the important thing is that you retrieve this letter and nobody is able to recall who it was that took it. Is this going to be fine for all of you? He's again staring at Addo.
Yeah. So you wish us to perform an act of common banditry?
Yes.
My way of ensuring no one remembers is a violent one. Grommen looks like he'll have no problem with that. The halfling, however, and I look to how rather dainty you look compared to, I'd say, the rest of us, has me worried.
My lack of skills in certain departments are made up for with an abundance of them in others.
My worry is that you might get squeamish at the sight of a throat being slit.
My worry is that you may not be able to reach that throat.
Says you?
I don't even have to, Grommen speaks. I will gently gesture to him, but, like, if we maintain eye contact, like, I'm very clearly look pissed off at that comment. And I'll quickly look over to Rye. I assume you have no issues if you are friends with Forsen.
Yeah, you just see Rai holding back laughter at the balls on this halfling.
Yeah.
This whole scenario's hilarious. She's a huge fan of him already.
That's all I needed. So I'll nod and I'll look back to Forsen. 50 gold apiece. Agreed.
Good. Now I have the good news for you. Since you've all agreed to do this, I'll let you know that the people that are transporting this, while certainly they are just peoples being hired by someone else, the person that they're working for is not a very good person. The person that they're working for is, we'll just say, evil. And so, therefore, their actions are evil in serving that person. They chose this path. And you can let it settle well that the lives that you're ending are ending the lives of those that look to further corrupt or to destroy order and perhaps even goodly hearts. As for how it is you're going to accomplish this task, I have a specific location laid out for you. It's an area that's been used once or twice in the past, so it's a comfortable spot that'll give you a good sight of the road. When you arrive there, the wagon will come sometime afterwards. You'll know which wagon it is, again, based off of the sigil that you'll see on the side. But more importantly, I have a distraction arranged for this wagon. I imagine it would be rather difficult to start chasing down horses and the like on foot. So I have a distraction arranged for this. The distraction will play out relatively quickly. So probably right after the distraction plays out, you can take that moment to encounter them. Again, how it is you choose to do so is between you and them. So it's between yourselves, I'm sorry. Do you have any questions?
How will we know it's yours?
It'll be very obvious. It'll be very apparent. There should be nothing else bothering this. And you know what? If something else happens to disrupt this wagon, coincidentally, right before you and this spot on the road, then take that opportunity. Doesn't matter either way. So once the wagon stops, that's your opportunity.
Do we know? Did he already clarify who has the letter, or just somebody on the wagon has the letter?
He didn't clarify who. So go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll say who possesses the letter that we're looking to take.
I don't know the names of each person on that wagon, especially since most of them are guards of the wagon of the employer that I mentioned is not of the city. But I imagine it's the one that's the best dressed.
How many?
Typically speaking, these wagons will be protected by 4 that are capable with a weapon. I imagine the gentleman or lady with the letter will have some knowledge around the blade, and there's a good chance there is somebody else that is actually driving the wagon. Their ability with a blade is probably lacking, more than likely. But then again, those people tend to be very silent, very cheap.
Care to divulge the information of who they work for?
I do not as of right now. You'd have to earn that trust.
Fair enough. That ends my questions.
Right, lets out like a large audible yawn from the corner of the room.
Out of character question, is the acquisition of that information something I could possibly garner via a charisma check or something like that?
Which information are you referring to? Who it is that's in the wagon? So on and so forth?
The question that Matt has just asked.
Well, first you'd have to identify the wagon, then who's on the wagon, and then go from there. So it is possible, but it would take a little bit of time for you to accomplish that.
Okay.
So again, it is possible, however feasible.
I see.
You need some alone time.
You gotta get a one-on-one with Forston.
Look, I'm 20, bro. You can get whatever you want.
Yeah.
When is this planned for? Tonight?
So the wagon itself will be leaving just at the break of dawn, and so you'll have to get ahead of that. So you'll have to leave before that. Okay. So you have to leave just before that. I do have a map to show you exactly where it is that you're going. I imagine at least one of you knows their way around a map.
I'll know.
I've had my fair share of map experiences.
Then you'll follow that map. It'll tell you exactly the best spot to stop. I'm sure once you come across it, you'll know exactly what spot it is. You'll see the benefits of it as soon as you arrive there. So you'll be heading out before the break of dawn to get there ahead of time. The wagon will be moving faster than you since it will be drawn by a horse, and you will most likely be on foot. I imagine none of you own horses.
Yep, I shake my head.
He nods to that and says, so what time to leave? Just before dawn and head out. The exact location is about a 4 hours travel from here on foot, assuming everybody can keep up. And once again, daggers at Addo.
Any of you heard of an orc-back ride?
I stand and I will exactly. I stand, I just look to Forsen, I nod, and I just turn to leave the room.
That wasn't the rest of the details.
There's more?
There is one more thing of utmost importance and others that might make your life easier in the future.
Okay.
For one, you're welcome to raid the wagon or the peoples that you encounter. Anything that you find, you're allowed to keep. It's all yours. However, if you come across a chest that is both locked and there is no key around to unlock it, that chest should not only should it not be opened, but you need to return that to me unharmed. The wagon itself, and this is my advice, destroy the wagon. It will make it seem a little less obvious what happened.
Fair enough. Is that all?
He nods to that. He nods saying yes.
Okay. I'll just quickly gesture to the room and I will make my way out of the room.
Were you asking for everybody else to leave with you?
No, I'll leave. Like I'm saying goodbye and I walk out.
Okay. So he walks out, and Forston walks over to Grommen and hands Grommen two pieces of parchment rolled up, and says, "What's his name? May Grumsh watch over you in your travels." And turns and walks away.
Burp.
He takes it, puts it in his bag, and he follows Thonk. And he starts walking towards Thonk, and then he stops, turns around.
Well, are you coming with us?
And then he continues to walk forward.
Cool. All right, Rye just kind of she's got her arms folded. She kind of kicks off the wall and throws up like a thank you to Forston, and she turns to Addo, and she goes, "Nice entrance," and just follows Rom out the room.
I wink in response to Rye's compliment. Go ahead and take a leap off the chair. It takes about a full half second to go from chair to ground, and I make my exit as well.
Awesome. So everybody's leaving the room while all 4 of you are turns left to go down the stairs. Actually, Forston turned right and went down the hallway somewhat and went into another door, shut it behind him. So the 4 of you were able to meet downstairs inside the main room if you'd like, leaving the room 3 empty, but I imagine you shut the door behind you. Go ahead. So Thonk, very quickly, you after you go down the stairs, you hear footsteps coming down after you, and you see everybody else is following suit.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I assume I'll have to get together and discuss things. It's still midday, correct?
It is right now, and as Rye makes the way down the stairs, he sees he kind of catches eye with the bartender, who's already pouring him in. I'm sorry?
Rise a she.
My apologies. As soon as he catches eyes with her, and immediately starts pouring her another drink, knowing that Rye would be interested in the fact that the tab is on somebody else.
Mm-hmm. She nods and does like a circular motion and points to a nearby table. Then seats herself promptly at the table, boots up.
As everybody else makes their way to the table one at a time, the bartender remembers what drinks you would have gotten before. So that would be Grommen and Otto's drinks that they were having prior, and another one of those is poured. Whereas they send a barmaid over to get a drink order from Thonk.
I gesture. I don't want one.
Okay.
So we're all around the same table then? Is that the plan? Okay.
Seemingly.
Yeah, sure.
I'm standing on my chair.
That's fine. I'm actually leaning on the back of my chair. I'm not even sitting.
Wait, why are you standing on your chair? Just
I'll
because you want to like.
interrupt you guys. Sorry. This inn does in fact have chairs for littler people.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so they've got accommodations.
You might have to do that awkward dragging it across the room first. But there will be a chair.
It's like a high chair for like a little kid, you know?
Right. Okay, so Otto is going to go all the way to the other side of the bar, grab a high chair, and then drag it
off
completely across the bar.
I see Otto doing this. I know he's part of our group. I stand up and I go and I pick him up and the chair up and I bring him back, and I put the chair down and I sit him in the chair.
I like the idea that like every conversation the tavern stops and you just hear like and you just see him get picked up and all the conversation just resumes.
Yeah, if he's making like a ton of noise, I'm gonna go over there and like
everyone's
pick him.
just staring at him.
That's great. I just have a big grin on my face as she's lifting me and taking me across the bar.
So to make this
that was not an orc ride.
Yeah, we'll get you yet though.
So to make this a little bit more dramatic, all of the patrons of the bar that actually happen to be regulars of this establishment avert their eyes and do not watch exactly what's happening as Grommen goes over and picks up both the halfling and the chair. But those that maybe weren't there that night, well, they're staring in awe of the situation playing out.
It's great.
All right. So we all get around the same table. I'm like leaning on the back of my chair because I don't look like I plan on staying in the building for very long. I'll look around. The place is still relatively busy, right?
Yes, it is. I mean, over a dozen patrons there, maybe 24 if you count.
I suggest not speaking about this job, but relatively in public. Perhaps reconvening later tonight elsewhere would be better. Thoughts?
Where?
Well, I don't. I'll look up to everybody. Where is everybody staying in an inn?
So I'm going to interrupt at this point. So actually, Rye does know that this establishment does happen to be a rather good one for having conversation about anything without people really paying attention, listening in, or even giving a crap what it is that you're saying. So,
Okay.
Armed with that information, Rye?
Yeah, I think Ryan interjects and she's like, "This place is good." You hear a slurp loudly.
Okay. All right. I'll pull the chair out slightly, and then I'll sit, and I will place my books that are on my side on the table so they're not dangling awkwardly, and I'll just look around the table and say, "Then let's discuss and get this over with. What's the plan? Do we wish to reconvene later tonight? Where is everybody staying?
My plan is to drink this ale.
Ryan lifts that glass up in a cheers gesture.
As does Otto.
Grommer cheers with you and kind of smacks your mug, maybe knocks it a little too hard so some of your drink comes out and then chugs some.
Whew, okay. I take a very deep breath, just kind of taking in the people that this man has set me up with. Oh, God, okay.
Remember, Grommen's like really dumb.
No. I see Grommen and I understand Grommen. Like, that's Thunk gets Grommen. Thunk doesn't get Halfling. And
So
nor Tiefling.
As Thunk is audibly irritated and trying to collect his, visibly irritated, trying to collect his thoughts, the silence befalls the table, and you guys are able to hear the ambient noise. Now, like I said, there's chatter of other people, so on and so forth. You're inside of a tavern, but like I said before, there is music playing in the background. While it's just background noise from a local minstrel, Otto specifically is able to realize that it's just terrible music. It's grating, it's awful, and the worst part is the person's not even drunk. You know, there's no excuse for it. But that is the ambient sound that you hear.
Oh,
Then
if only they could get a man of talent to play in this bar. If only such a halfling existed.
I come here every night, and it would be nice to have more music.
He like smacks Otto and maybe a little too hard because you're kind of small. And he's like,
Well, show us what you got. Don't you play the instrument things?
Oh, it's not my night. The mood's not right. We got business to attend to.
correct. I agree with the Halfling.
Can Rye catch the attention of the barman?
Absolutely, yeah. Easily so. His eyes always out.
She throws her hand in the air, and they exchange some words in Shao. And she's explaining that a halfling is a phenomenal talent and would like to perform next.
I was hoping you were going to say like, it's his birthday and then there's going to be, no, but this is good too. I love it. I'm in.
And to fetch him when the time is appropriate for him to play.
Do me a favor, actually, roll me a persuasive check.
All right, let's do it. The first roll.
Don't mess this roll up, Sam.
God.
We need it.
I might mess this up.
Does this mean you're actually going to sing for us or something, Bear? What's your musical instrument? Do we like see it on
That's
you?
a hell of a roll right there, good friend. He rolled a 5.
He's not buying.
Yeah. So he nods like politely encouraging what it is that you're saying, and says, "I've already paid him for the night. I don't have the coffers to pay for somebody else." So, and just kind of like
saying this in Shao.
This isn't Shao, so
So I don't understand it. Never mind.
correct.
She raises her hands in like a what the hell motion and then just gives up.
Yeah, the responding gesture is one of those like, my hands are tied.
I'll slap the table and stand up, pushing the chair out, trying to end the bullshit, like as they're just trying to get the halfling paid. And I'll like, I suggest we meet at sundown out the nearest gate. We gather, we move out, we take care of this job, we get paid, and we go our separate ways.
I put my arm on Thonk's shoulder, and I stand up and I put my arm on Thonk's shoulder.
Look, why so serious? Come on, join us. It is always good to join in festivities before a night of battle.
I agree, Thug. You worry yourself too much.
I hand him my mug, give him my drink, and I put it in his hand, and I like put it up, and I start going.
Chug.
Oh, I'll take.
Rye joins in.
Chug.
I place the mug gently onto the table.
As the two of them start saying it, a few others in the bar also start chanting chug as well. It takes a few moments, but eventually the attention is turned to the table, and more or less everybody there is chanting it as well.
I do not succumb to peer pressure, my friends.
Well, somebody's got to do it. Otto grabs the drink and just starts downing it all the way.
Right, cheers. Hands in the air.
I step back and I leave the bar and assuming, hopefully, they will show up at the outside of the gate by sundown.
I guess Grumman is confused. He's like, "What is this?" And he motions for the barmaid to bring him another drink. And then he looks at Rye and says,
Do you know him? Seems
He's
odd
not-
that
he's not
Clifton's
fun.
friend would not want to join in on the festivities.
Forget him. She takes another swig. And I guess we fade to black.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. So you guys spend a short period of time there drinking. Now, I imagine all of you know your limits before a night of combat. So, everybody drinks perhaps just
Does Grumman, though? Does Grumman know his limits?
"We should roll to know if Grumman knows his limits."
Yeah, that's a good one.
I like this.
That's a wisdom check.
Oh, fuck. All right. Let's do it. All right. What do I need to do? Just
It's
wisdom.
a wisdom check to know your limit.
Straight.
All right. Don't know shit.
Awesome. Roll the 6. So Grumman drinks perhaps a little bit too much tonight.
Does Grom get +1 AC for
sorry?
being drunk?
Usually the penalties, I mean, there's no set rules, but usually the penalties are to your actual wisdom and intelligence get reduced a little bit, but your charisma goes up as you become more outgoing and boisterous. And some people have argued whether or not you get things like temp HP, but for S and Gs, you're drunk.
All right. Seems
Oh,
normal.
That -2 wisdom is even lower.
Terrific.
Oh,
So the
yeah. My wisdom is -1, so my int and wisdom is just, I'm stupid and not very wise. But I can get you around places.
There you go. So at this point, the three of you spend a little bit of time drinking and getting to know each other. Perhaps Addo actually grows on Grumman a little bit, and he's not so perturbed by the boisterous little
I
halfling.
mean, you
that
chugged that beer. That's pretty, I mean,
You
I don't-
wore half of it. You chugged half and wore the other half, but
yeah.
I know at some point throughout the night as well, after the little alcoholic confidence boost did go up and participate in some tomfoolery with the current bard as well.
Awesome, terrific. Then do me a favor, roll me a performance check, please.
Oh, sure.
I feel like at the end of the night, we all ended up on stage, singing karaoke style. I feel like that's
Yeah, that's a
I am
what minus
the
Tom.
best ending.
So two things. One, you with your total performance roll of 8 are actually playing better, noticeably better than the bard that was on stage
Nice.
prior, though not convincing Rye that it was worth putting you up there. And two, I like the idea of what Grumman's talking about, or Maggie's talking about, of everybody kind of going into the night, continuing to drink and sing. The funny part there is that Thunk had mentioned meeting at sundown at the gate, in which case he's the only one there. And time's passing and nobody's arrived yet.
Oh, that's so good.
So while the three of you are up there singing YMCA or whatever it is that you sang,
SHAO.
what is it that you're doing there?
I'll return to wherever my room may be, and I'm probably reading and just mentally preparing for what is going to be happening early morning in the night, making sure I'm rested and good to go.
My apologies. That was in the interim, but now it's time that they were supposed to meet you, and
Okay.
that time has passed, and they have yet to arrive.
We will make that decision after a quick break.
Oh,
So, first hour
that
done.
was good. That was a good segue.
I thought so. We'll be back in about 2 or 3 minutes. Hang tight, guys. We're just gonna grab drinks and piss our brains out. We'll be back. All right, guys. See you in a bit.